Oh God, here we go. Oh man, stop the presses. Hold on. Here we go. All right, no music. Glorious adventurers. As part of our ongoing commitment to maintaining a productive and respectful testing environment during Alpha 2, we are taking strong actions against behaviors that undermine the integrity of this phase. Alpha 2 is a testing environment designed to provide critical data and feedback for the development of Ashes of Creation. Exploiting known bugs, using poor judgment to intentionally break systems, or engaging in any behavior that disrupts this purpose will not be tolerated. Account summary actions. 19 accounts permanently banned from the remainder of Alpha 2 Phase 2 for repeated exploitation. Okay, so it's a suspension. Let's just, I don't like the word banned because ban means you're gone forever. This is just a suspension. So 19 accounts were permanently suspended for the remainder of Alpha 2 Phase 2. So that means they'll be back for Phase 3. 16 accounts received 5-day suspensions for exploitive behavior. 3 accounts permanently banned for obscene name calling. Oh, wow. Was that 3 accounts banned permanently? Like, is that like, this is why I would love people to use like suspension and banning, because those are two completely different things. I hope this means like an actual permanent ban. 37 accounts used account warnings for extreme harassment. Okay, so this is just like a slap on the wrist, basically. Don't do it again, or else you're going to face huge consequences. Receive experience adjustments, inventory removals for the first time exploiting. 83 accounts experienced full account wipes for their first time exploitation. Wow, full account wipes, not a character. Their whole account got just refreshed, basically. Alpha 2 is not a playground for disruptive behavior. It is a collaborative effort where your participation shapes the future of Ashes of Creation. Any intentional engagements with known bugs or exploits or egregious behavior that undermines this effort will be dealt with swiftly and decisively. Our analytics systems are robust and were a critical part of the Alpha 2 entrance criteria. These tools allow us to identify exploitative actions with precision, and we are monitoring all activity closely. While some of these accounts actions have already been completed, the remaining adjustments will be finalized by Tuesday of next week. We appreciate the majority of players who are participating in good faith and contributing value insights during this alpha phase. Let's keep the focus where it belongs on improving the game for launch and beyond. Thank you, and see you in Vera. I'm processing, chat. So there was 19 accounts that were permanently banned for the remainder of Alpha 2 Phase 2 for repeating exploitation. There were 19 accounts, which that seems very low, especially considering the amount of people that were exploiting in Phase 1 that had their accounts flagged, because Steven said a number of over 100 characters, and I don't think that was one account having 5 characters that were all exploiting, because I think the majority of players are basically only maining a single tune. So to me, that's like clearly over like at least 80 or 90 accounts that already got the slap on the wrist. Now, again, maybe Intrepid is going to do like a 3 strikes you're out kind of thing. I think this is going to be interesting to see how and who got suspended till Phase 3. What actually happened to result in this. There was a lot of people. So I didn't see anything in this about duping. So clearly there wasn't any duping happening in Phase 2, thank God. Because again, people were saying it and thinking people were doing it, but I had no proof, because I would always sound like, well, what proof do you have? And it was always just speculation and correlation. And again, we can all have that, but I, would love proof, basically. There were definitely dupes going on. I feel like if there were, Steven would have mentioned, because he said exploiting known bugs, using poor judgment to intentionally break systems, or engage in any way that. So I guess he wasn't, because this could be intentionally vague, and that could also be intentionally vague too. Like, he didn't specifically say dupes, but all I'm saying is on my side of things, when I would ask people that were saying these things, and I was like, do you have any proof? And they would never be able to send me anything, like a screenshot or whatever, which it's like, how can you scan a screenshot of someone else duping? You know what I'm saying? Like the person duping would need to send me that screenshot, and they're not going to do that. So to me, I feel like this number should have been around almost like this number in my mind. Like somewhere around this number, to be honest. The amount of people and the amount of guilds that I saw and that I heard that I was sent screenshots of exploitation probably would have been around this number. And this is their first time exploiting. Again, we look back at the previous one, and there was like Steven deleted over 100 characters, and he didn't say a specific number. He just said he deleted over, so any number above 100. I personally don't think this was enough. This was not as heavy-handed as I would have been personally, and I don't know if this particularly scares anybody. If I were to go and talk to someone like under like a guise or like a voice modulator, if I can find someone that would be willing to talk to me on a 1v1 that was duping or exploiting or is known to exploit or is in a guild that exploits frequently, and to have their just honest opinion be heard with complete anonymity, I really feel like that person would say, no, I'm not afraid of Intrepid. Like, I just have a feeling that that person might say something like that. And I understand the true fear of like actually permanently banning an account, right? I totally get that. But only 3 accounts were permanently banned for obscene name calling violations and racist behavior. And that's completely warranted. This completely warranted, 100%. $200 says Walmart lover isn't one of the 3. I don't really pay attention to the chat in global. I've seen him say stuff every now and then, but oh no, sorry, what you said before. Oh, okay. Just checking. You know, I've said it in my video, and I will say it again for this stream. If you have, you know, people that have invested in your company and you have thousands of dollars and they have thousands of dollars invested because they purchased pre-order packs and they did stuff, you know, like, all I'm saying is that I hope you're not taking certain things into account, like, well, I know them. They've been around for 7+ years. They promised me they wouldn't do this again. I'm sorry, but someone in one of the comments on my video about me talking about this said it so perfectly. A friend wouldn't take advantage of the friendship by exploiting in your game. A true friend. And all I'm saying is that be careful, Steven. That's all I'm saying. Be careful. Because I don't like the idea of someone saying to your face that they're your friend and then doing shit behind your back. Or it's not even behind your back, because you're going to see it, right? If you have, you know, if you have the analytical systems to find out who is duping or exploiting or doing shady shit, and then you find out and you see, oh God, it was him. Dude, we go back like so many years. How could he have done this? He told me he would never do this. Exploiters almost never learn their lesson. They just try to find the next time to be either more secretive or thinking they won't get caught. I saw this many exploiters with my own eyes in Carfin just on Vera. Yeah. So at least we had bans, but it could have been harder. But if it happens again, a lot of accounts will be banned because there was a lot of first-time banners. So there was a lot of accounts that got basically just wiped, and they have to start all over. I think, you know, my advice to Steven or Intrepid in general is to lay down the law on what exploits are off the table, so it's known. So now that we're all on the same page, when we go to a Carfin or we go to Citadel Steel Bloom and we think we're seeing a group exploit, because you have made the statement of, hey, this is an exploit, don't do this. If you see this behavior, please screenshot it, please report it, please do this or whatever. Now we're all on the same page. And I've seen this comment too on my video, and I definitely agree with that. Because there's people that are saying, what was one of the comments on my video where they said, the most egregious exploit bug right now, in his opinion, is if you have a crocodile mount, that is the worst exploit that you could be doing in the game right now. I think there are bigger fish to fry personally than the bugged crocodile speed, but this is what I'm talking about. Like before the weapon mastery bug, right? Or I mean, not before, but like before they fixed the weapon mastery bug, like everybody was probably, all the hardcore people were taking part in that bug, like all of them. You have to, like, Intrepid has to come, I'm not gonna say Steven specifically, but Intrepid has to come out and say like what bugs are currently permitted without any kind of a violation or a warning, and what dupes or exploits, or not dupes, but like what exploits, because that word could be so loose in this community, because one person thinks an exploit is super bad, like a crocodile mount, and I think like a really egregious exploit was the tank invincibility and the basically having a tank on an upper heighted elevated, right? To me, that was just egregious. Like your tank's taking absolutely no damage because you're at a higher elevation and you can get all that threat. You know what I mean? And you could just be at a certain grind spot for hours, like doing that. Like, I just think that's terrible. I think Intrepid just needs to follow this up with setting the community on the same page. If you set the community at the same page, then we're all in agreement and we can all look while we're playing. If we see the thing that you say is bad, we can report it to the authorities or do a screenshot, do a thing, whatever. And that is what it is. But if we are stuck in this ambiguity as a community, we don't know what to report, what not to report. You know, is this bad? Is this bad? Is this good? Is this good? Like, we just don't know. Let me see, a huge boost in gathering, huge boost in PvP. You get everywhere nearly 2x faster. It's a fast travel exploit. But yet all you see everywhere is people on crocodiles. I personally didn't have a crocodile because personally I couldn't afford one. But, you know, I have a graveyard golem and I've been next to a crocodile mount and I don't go as fast as a crocodile. But that's what I'm saying. Like, Silver, you're totally right. People are drawing their own lines in this shit. So set the record straight from the horse's mouth, which that would be Intrepid, to what is permitted in this test. Like, I don't think that's asking for too much, because I think we all just want to be in the same page of how can this game be tested, and what are things that we can participate in that isn't to be considered an exploit. And because again, I think it just, if you use your judgment, you'll know well enough, like if this is truly like a bad exploit to be using. At the end of the day, the crocodile mount, it's everywhere. People have them. You can buy them. It is what it is. But if Intrepid comes out and says, hey, you know, because in my opinion, if it was such a bad thing and Intrepid didn't want you to use it, they would have just disabled the crocodiles like in animal husbandry. To where it's like, hey, you're like, we're like, if it was so bad, they can just delete everybody's crocodile mount across the servers and just disable the crocodile until it's fixed. Maybe doing that is requiring double the work to then go in, take everybody's crocodile mount away. It'd be better served to just fix the damn mount, you know, at this point. I don't think it gets you 2x faster, because when I was side by side with a crocodile and I was on my graveyard golem, he wasn't going so far ahead of me that I couldn't catch up or keep up with him. I was keeping up with him pretty well. It was just like my graveyard golem was like right, well, you can't really tell in the distance, but like it was like right here and they were like right here. So it wasn't too much of a difference, you know what I mean? But again, if you take a common horse to a crocodile, oh yeah, like that, the crocodile's gonna fucking just take off. Do you think these punishments were too soft, or that they aren't punishing PIs properly, and they and there might be favoritism? Well, first of all, I don't know every single PI member. I know a couple, and if they're still in the game, all I'm saying is they know what they were doing, right? And if they didn't think that that was a bad thing to do, so does Intrepid apparently. And that's what I'm saying. If doing a certain exploit isn't bad, then just let us all do it, right? But there's certain groups not doing it because we think that's not what you guys want us to do. So if we can do it, then let's all do it, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if doing the hide exploit isn't considered bad in their eyes, cool. Let's announce it to everybody. I'll make a whole video about it and say, hey guys, when you're going into Carfin or going to Citadel of Steel Bloom, do this hide thing, because Intrepid is completely okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, then cool. Like, let's just put everybody on the same page that this particular thing is cool to do. It's fine. You're not going to get in trouble. I don't like this thing where we just don't know. So again, the majority of the honest gamers aren't doing it because they think it's bad and they're afraid of getting like suspended or banned or whatever. But then there's people who are doing it that might not even be getting any kind of punishment from it. So why is it like this boogeyman thing? Let's open up the closet, see if there's really a boogeyman in there, and if there isn't, let's just call it out. Let me see. One thing I wish Steven would do is to talk to the masses and not streamers. No offense. I mean, I don't care. I just would he just did it right here. He's not talking to me or a streamer. He's talking to the community. And I think this is what I want, but more specifically, just addressing exploits, addressing what is considered to be okay and what is considered to be not okay. That way we're just all on the same page. I do not disagree with listing the names. When Steven gives out a amount, he asked the server what they think of this tune. Bans didn't get everyone. Known exploiters on Vera still walking around. Well, and that's what I mean, right? So if you have people that are known exploiters still walking around, where are their 5-day suspensions? Because again, in my mind, what is then considered to be an exploit? This word exploit has different meaning to Intrepid than what it does to the players. So I think the definition needs to be defined, and then we'll all be on the same page. I think that's just what it is. It's like scam, right? You know how people say, oh, Ashes of Creation is a scam. And then what do we say as the community? Well, I don't think you understand what that word means. You know what I mean? So I think I understand what this word means, but maybe I don't, because maybe Intrepid has a completely different definition of exploiting than I do. And if we were all on the same page and they were to explain it to me, what their version of exploiting is, then I'll be on their page. But I think right now we're on two different pages. And so when you're on two different pages, you get frustrated because you believe you're right and they believe they're right. I think you are missing a very obvious reason that some players might not be punished harshly. Steven has said that he would use honeypots to catch exploiters. Okay. I mean, I get that. I mean, but my thing is that, you know, just like some people were saying, that there's known people that exploited that are still in the server with no ban, no suspension, like nothing. You see, running the phase 2 while everyone else was on vacation was the honeypot. I mean, again, I've always said phase 2, it should have started later, 100%. There's also there are also too many definitions for exploit. Well, that's what I mean. Like, as a player and as someone who tries to be very interactive with the community, I feel like we were on the same page about stuff, but there's some things, even when I talk to the community, I understand it's like, oh, wow, okay. So this person thinks this is an exploit. This person thinks this other thing's an exploit. It's like, well, then are we on the same page? Like, clearly the community is confused. So let's just break the confusion. You know, to play devil's advocate, if they define an exploit, they set a bar, maybe they need the bar to be adjustable. I don't think stating a couple of exploit examples is setting a bar. But my whole thing is that I don't like people using a certain thing thinking they're going to get in trouble and then they don't get in trouble. So it's like, okay, well, if they didn't get in trouble, can we all do it then? Right? So sort of like with the crocodile mount. Crocodile mount, it's the fastest mount there is, but clearly it's using the swimming speed on land, but yet you see everybody on a crocodile mount. So are they going to ban everybody? Probably not. So I'm going to do it. So everybody uses one. So all I'm saying is that if there are certain things that would be considered exploitative behavior, but you're not going to get punished for it, then let's just do it then. Because if hardcore players aren't going to be honest, and using that to benefit, well, then why can't we all benefit from it? You know what I mean? My definitions are as follows. Exploiting is any action that defeats the intended gameplay. A bug is a defect in the programming. Well, 100%. I agree with that definition. I do.